So in the world of weightlifting and bodybuilding, there's a lot of equipment out there, from flipping knee sleeves to wrist straps to elbow straps to whatever, squat shoes, the whole nine. But what do you actually need, and what are you wasting your money on, and what is actually destroying your gainage? That's gainage, by the way. That is the ability to make more gains. What are you saying, everybody? We're back in his house with another Teach Me Tuesday. That's what's up. Yeah, they're back for now until I decide I don't want to do them anymore. I remember back in uni, we all went to go and play basketball, and we just wore whatever. We wore shorts and a vest, and we were like, all right, we're just gonna play some ball. It's nothing serious. And then this dude turns up, who we actually know, so I'm not gonna name drop, but he's wearing he's kitted out, the full drip, everything. He has the professional NBA vest, the shorts, the Jordans, and he was garbage, pure garbage. Don't be that guy. So let's run through the go-to equipment that most gym guys, beginner, advanced, intermediate, all kind of go for. Just the general stuff you see in the gym. But just before we get into it, a couple things. Leave a comment below and leave your thoughts on this whole thing. Do you think that people use too much equipment? Do you think I want to get your insight as I carry on with this video. Second thing is, my new online coaching platform /app /training guide thing is now live. So you can check it out in the description box if that's what you're into. GabrielSeyFitness.com. So let's start with the most common and popular piece of equipment that people use, which is the belt. Probably the most useless when it comes to beginners. Now let me explain. When you start the gym, it's all about building a foundation. It's all about building a base and, getting strong in certain areas, which includes your TVA, which is the transverse abdominis, which is inside your stomach, like around here. And also just your core in general. So wearing it around the gym everywhere, like you're Rey Mysterio and you just beat The Rock, is pretty much useless. You need to, why wear something that takes away from something that you're meant to be building? FYI, the belt is actually used wrong by a majority of people. It's not for supporting your back, it's for bracing when you're doing big compound lifts, but that's a separate video. Next up is wrist wraps. Most beginners, some intermediates, don't even know how to stack their wrists properly. Now, when I say stack your wrists, people don't get it, but a lot of the time, Jordan done it. Jordan's right here as well. Can't hear me, he's editing. He would do that, so the bar is sitting there, especially on shoulder press. Used to do it on bench, now it's a lot better on both. But stacking the wrists, which I call strong wrists, is like that. So if you can't even keep strong wrists, why would you wrap it when your wrist is like that? Next up is knee wraps. About 80% of the people that I see using knee wraps don't use them properly. And I used to be part of that 80%, so I'm not even throwing shade. I'm just saying that a lot of people use them wrong. Now, if you go to actual powerlifting meets and stuff and you see people training for powerlifting and they put on knee wraps, they can't walk. Like they're waddling like Pingu to the flipping squat rack. And that's how it's meant to be. They're meant to be that tight that they're literally put on just before you do the lift and they're taken off immediately after because it's all cut off circulation. But that is how you're meant to wear knee wraps, for them to actually aid you in the squat, because it allows a rebound and also gives you support. And definitely not meant for just casually wearing them loosely wrapped. It's pointless. You're not using them for the actual reason you're meant to be. And as a beginner, if you've just started squatting, wearing tight knee wraps is pointless. This is when you're more advanced into it, you've built your base, and you're at a point where you are lifting big weights.
Yo, big man ting, I'm on some big man stuff.
Next is elbow wraps. These aren't as intense as knee wraps. You're not gonna put them on and then flipping not be able to move your arms, because that would be pointless. And you don't get a rebound, because the rebound is your sternum, if you were to use a rebound. Don't bounce it off your chest. The main thing around elbow wraps is to just give your elbow support if it's needed. A lot of people use it when they're coming back from injuries. But again, foundation. Don't need them yet. So before I get on to the last three, let me just conclude this section. So the solution for these and the tips that I would say moving forward if you are at a point where you've built your base, you're happy and blah, 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 you've been training for a couple of years and now you're hitting some big boy weightage and you want to start using support systems, don't put them on straight away. So what I'll normally do is perform as many of the sets, especially the warm-ups, without anything. As you move closer to your top sets, then start looking at, you know, the belt, the knee wraps and that kind of thing. You're just throwing all your ammo at one thing, which doesn't even need that much. You can't squat your warm-ups without knee wraps, then you need to go and see a physio soon. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention are ones that most gym goers could probably benefit from. Again, there are some times that you shouldn't be using them, but let's get into what those three are. So let's start with squat shoes. Now, when it comes to squat shoes, it depends on your mechanics and your mobility. When I say mobility, I mean like your hip mobility and your ankle mobility. If you don't have good mobility in those places, then it's going to be hard for you to get deep into a squat, and squat shoes, because of the raised heel, allows that a little bit. Also, body mechanics, how your body is set up. Now, there isn't a one size fits all when it comes to squat shoes. As an example, I recently bought these Reebok squat shoes. I thought they looked bad. They looked wicked. You might have seen it on my Instagram story. By the way, follow me on Instagram. Shameless plug. But the heel was like massive and it threw everything off balance. Then I decided to go and get the Nike Metcons and I was like, yeah, these will be pretty cool. And they were like literally no heel whatsoever. They were garbage too. Well, for squatting anyway. Great for deadlifts. Not good for me squatting. So I stuck with my Fast Lift 335s, which I've had for 5 years. If it ain't broke, don't fix that. Also, after a lot of trial and error, it turns out that I actually need to use a low bar position with the squat shoes to have a good squat alignment. Go figure. The one thing that I'll say as like a cautionary detail, don't use this as an excuse to stop doing mobility stuff. You should still be doing mobility stuff and still be doing like bodyweight squats and all that kind of stuff. But when it actually comes to lifting with weight on your back, then use the squat shoes if you need them. Okay, then on to knee sleeves. You see tons and tons of people wearing knee sleeves right now. Really, these are just for compression and warmth. These are perfect, like I wear them all the time because I have old man knees. But before I would wear them during the winter, especially just to keep my knees warm and to also like just have a bit of stability around the knee, but they're nowhere near as intense or meant to be as intense as knee wraps. The Powerlifting Federation, DPU, they've actually changed their rules, which they used to class knee sleeves as equipped or geared lifters, which now they're just doing it as ungeared, unequipped, whatever. And on to lifting straps and chalk. Everyone has their preference over this. Straps are great for deadlifts and rows, especially when you're trying to focus on the movement pattern or you're trying to make sure you're focusing on an area. Sometimes it's hard to focus on an area when you're trying to focus on grip as well. But when I get questions on improving grip, and then in the same breath, I see the person's videos and they're wearing straps all the time.
Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Get out of here with that nonsense, man. You can't improve your grip strength if you're gonna wear straps all the time. So you need to decide what your goal is. On the flip side though, with heavy deadlifts especially, double overhand grip is quite taxing. It's almost impossible. So a lot of people go for switch grip, but then when you use a switch grip, then sometimes when you're fatigued and your form starts going out the window, you start to see your body twist, moving in the way that your arms are moving. So like that. The best approach that I've found to kind of work your grip strength but also use straps when they're necessary is to do all your warm-up sets with no straps. You're just focusing on that grip. It's not too heavy that it's gonna like mess up your movement pattern or whatever and the thought is going to your hands. Then when it gets slightly heavier, you could use chalk, and then you move on to your top sets. If you still continue to use chalk and you don't want to use straps, Jordan doesn't like using straps ever, then go to switch grip. Overhand, underhand. You have to build up and put things on slowly. So yeah, like progression. But if you do decide to use switch grip, then please make sure that the tension is taken out of the bar, because we don't want any torn biceps. Disclaimer. So strap up, kids. We don't want any accidents. I meant on deadlifts. On deadlifts. Anyway, hope that helps. Smash the ting. Peace.
Ooh, baby, what is you doing? What is you doing?
That's how you make gains, right? Isn't it?
Are you dumb?